it going tonight, guys?
Oh, it's fucking going.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting live tonight, guys. Brandon's got an unexpected guest showing up. Our guest is on the road, which we're so super appreciative. Please don't. That he can make it here with us tonight. So this should be good. We're going to have a good time and talk about a really cool and interesting new product.
Oh yeah, with
to us. So
at PAC Pythons, and for some of you who've probably seen him, he's now doing PAC RACKS LLC,
yeah.
And we're about to have him on, and he's going to tell us all about his product.
All right,
so
let's bring him on. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
He's muted.
Yeah, your mic's muted for us there, bud.
Or did we mute him by accident?
Nope, because it won't let me unmute it.
Oh wait. This is so awkward. He's like, you want to reschedule? I was like, fuck no, dude. We did this with Shane with Small Town Exotics.
Yeah.
And we tested it earlier, and literally fucking 30 seconds ago.
It was fine. Yep.
So, okay.
Oh.
There you go. Hop out, hop back. And he knows how to use it.
Yep.
He's done it before.
Well, I feel bad, right? Because he's like driving right now, trying to get this to work.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is going to be an awesome product for like that intermediate breeder that doesn't have a lot of space, right? That is struggling with like a space.
Yeah, I agree because it's cheaper.
Het everyone? Are you het everyone, Brandon?
What do you mean het everyone? Oh, fucking. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone should be het for me. That's the only way they'd be a powerhouse. Fucking losers. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
Anyone wants a very sweet and affectionate cat?
Yeah, same. Hit me up. I also have a sweet and affectionate cat if you're up in Michigan. Yeah, you're all... No, none of you are hets. You're all trash. Just kidding.
I'm het, Brandon.
What are you het for?
I don't know. Okay. What am I het for?
I don't know. What two colors do you need to put together to get purple?
Right?
Hold on.
Now you put me on the spot. Now I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, Philip, can you hear us?
I think so.
There we go.
Okay,
awesome.
we can hear
you.
We can hear you just fine. No, you're real staticky. You're breaking.
Because we're driving. He's moving. Yep. Damn.
Well, it should calm down. I'm about 10 miles away from the highway. Once I get on the highway, it should clear up the rest of the way back.
All right. No, you're good. You're kind of coming in and out.
Coming in and out. Anyhow.
Brandon, get your head out of the gutter. It's already been a night.
Dude, it's been a whole fucking day. Trust me.
Seriously though, guys, this little guy will be up for adoption when he's being sponsored. I guess we're fostering him, so he belongs to a shelter, right? But we're taking care of him until he's all better. I don't know if you can see his lovely battle wound right here.
Oh, damn.
Yep. Someone dropped him off. So we have our rat building in the industrial area, right? Someone just dropped him off on the railroad tracks.
Ashley found one that today.
Oh,
that someone just dropped in the woods.
Yep. We're between like a super busy street and a railroad track. And then there's a river on the other side of the railroad track. So.
Damn. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Philip, are you still with us? He's trying to be. He's trying.
Yep.
To be. Fuck. This is pretty difficult. What's wild is if this goes to shit in like 25 minutes, I got somebody else.
I'm leaving. Bye.
We'll be right here. But Philip, I really want to know about your axe.
I want to tell you about.
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Oh boy.
I want to hear about him. Goddamn. It's cool. We'll just, you said like 10 miles up the road.
Yeah, we're
so-
good. Me and Brandon could bullshit for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost working. It's really close.
There we go. It sounds a lot
I'll
better.
just
Yeah, you
screw
sound
off
good
until
now.
I get to the open land.
Yeah, you let us know when you get there. Just start talking.
But a quick overview. Wow. Philip Collom is his name.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. Y'all bullshit about what you know, and
Yes. And we'll get there. As a matter of fact, I know what we could do. Check this out. Hey Liz, do you have 2 screens or no?
Yeah.
You want to if you go on his Insta, you could screen share his link tree that's in his bio.
Right.
So this dude's name is Philip Collom, right? For the 3rd time. So he owns PAC Pythons, if you guys can't see, which I think is so awesome. And he just started his second company, LLC PAC RACKS. We're going to pull up his website and show you everything. But it's a very interesting design. This is, Reptile Revolution. Look at that. How big your racks are. So anyways, this guy is pretty revolutionary. He's really pushing the limit on a new idea. I really like it. This ain't your grandma's rack.
Yep.
So if you scroll down, there's a couple videos you could see. So there's the Alpha series. This is what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yep.
So check this out. On the far left, the hangers, those are the equivalent to the Freedom Breeder toppers,
Yes.
right? So yeah, check this out. So this is cool. So this is going from something equivalent to an FB5 to an FB10 in the same space.
Yep.
That's a pretty bad concept video as well.
Yeah, it is.
Damn, yeah, that's fucking sick. I think there's...
But it's that easy, guys. Did you see that? It's just as much as lifting it in and out. And another thing that I was thinking about when I was looking at these is we all know that the Freedom Breeder and ARS now have the removable toppers, right? But you kind of have to take the tub out and then take the tub out, then take the topper out, clean the topper, and while you're cleaning it, right, you've got an open snake tub. So either you have to move that snake to another tub, right, or put a lid on it or whatever the case may be. And if you want to clean like the heat tape underneath, if you're like me, I like to take everything out of one level so I can just wipe down everything on that level to make sure I don't miss anything. Well, at these toppers, it's like having a lid.
Yeah.
Tub. Like you can just pull it out, pull the topper, leave the lid on, stack the tubs, clean everything you need to clean, and then put them back.
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
It's called a hanger.
Sorry.
Yeah. Freedom Breeders, they call them the top, and ARS call them the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
We call
That's
it,
your
I
hanger.
came up with the tub hangers. Is what I call them.
Good. It's good. You should call them tub hangers because there
Yes.
are hide hangers, right? I have an arboreal snake, and she just got a huge enclosure upgrade, and I had to buy hide hangers where they actually drill into the top.
Yep.
And the black Vivarium electronic hides,
Yep.
you flip them upside down, they slide in there. But
Yep.
he loves them shits. But yeah, tub hangers are good. And immediately when I saw aluminum was interesting. I was like, this is a product. So I'm very experimental. I'm a super experimental person because I've bred snakes in like different continents on different places of the world and in different types of environments. So an aluminum rack, I think, is an extremely interesting design because it's the same concept as a, what do you call this? The hybrid recycled metal rack and stainless steel rack in the sense that it's a dresser, drawer, grid type system. But with aluminum, it's so light. You're not paying, out the ad like a quarter of what you're paying for the rack and shipping, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And it's the same. It's on the photo. It's the same. I don't know if you scroll up where you can see the belly heat, where it's the insulated underneath on the other side of the panel. Maybe I don't know where it's. Oh, maybe it was on his
It's
Instagram.
on his Instagram.
Because they're still right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
still the
this is the tub hanger
yes.
itself, and then this is the insulated heat panel.
Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Are all racks interchangeable?
Are all the racks, so like are all
Yeah.
PAC racks interchangeable?
All of the Alpha racks will be interchangeable with Alpha products.
Yes.
All of the Bravo, eventually we'll have a Bravo frame, which will be a deeper or a frame for a longer tub. And the Bravo
Okay.
products will all be interchangeable with Bravo frames.
Okay, so like the 33-inch deep tubs, right? For females.
Yeah,
But you
especially
have
like
the
33, 32. Those will, it'll probably be 32-inch deep frames
okay,
Yeah.
or tubs.
right.
And that'll probably end up being like a 34-inch frame.
Okay.
Is approximately what we're going for.
Awesome.
And those will all be interchangeable from shelf to shelf, and it have some of that modularity as well.
Man, you got some good friends. See Dave Kaufman.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, look at you, all these fucking. Yo, I better get a spot up on your grid. Come goddamn Arlington. I do like your branding. So you sound a lot. Also Mac O'Morphs wants to know if there's going to be Charlie Delta Echo lines and so on and so forth of models of your racks.
we might make it to Charlie. I don't
Okay,
imagine we're going to make it much further than that. There will be a rodent line, but I'm not sure if that's just going to be part of the Alpha frame system or if it's going to be its own thing. That's still to be determined. But as of right now, we're planning a rodent line on the Alpha frame.
Awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. After the show, with a lot of the questions that I have for you, because Liz and I, between the two of us, we have about 15 years of breeding experience, right?
Yep.
Together.
Yep.
So we know a lot of things. Like we've both done it all, built our own shit all the way up to the most professional grade shit of today. So we know the ins, outs, pros, cons, and we got a lot of good questions for you. And I know myself specifically, especially when it comes to stuff like later down the line, we're going to ask you about expansion into things like rodent racks, arboreal snake racks and stuff. I only breed African soft furs, which is a different type of rodent.
Yep.
So that's a different type of rack. So, I have to make them myself now. But it's just, it was, it's cool and something to think about. But since you sound good, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what do you do?
Okay. Philip Collom, PAC Pythons, PAC RACKS. Can y'all hear me well?
Yeah.
All right, good. I'm on the highway now, so
Nice.
it should be set. I've been keeping ball pythons for around 12 years, 10, 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And prior to that, I was actually afraid of snakes. It's kind of interesting. Had some traumatic experiences when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But got into the working for a pet store as a stock boy, and eventually slowly fell in love with them.
That's awesome.
Started to keep them as like a almost not a rescue. I didn't call myself that. I just accumulated snakes that people were turning in, and I would get them healthy and clean them up and get them well fed and whatever. And then we started having kids. Grandparents got weird about having snakes, so we ultimately at one point decided, okay, we should probably just go ahead and rehome these. We went about 4 or 5 years without them, and then when we got up here to Georgia, both of my boys got to a point where they were old enough to be interested in stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
So we started bringing them to the pet stores and showing them to them and stuff. And it got to a point where my wife was like, "Yeah, they both seem to like it. Like we should start doing it again." And that like very, very quickly escalated.
I see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
we
see
went
that.
we went from 1 to close to 80 in a matter of like 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we kind of blew it up very quickly. But in that process, obviously you need a place to put 80 snakes. So I'm a builder. I've always been a builder. I love to look at how things are made, and then take that, and I don't just go and like look up instructions on how to cut each board and then build exactly what I'm told. I over-engineer the shit out of everything I touch. So I found Morph Mixology videos on YouTube and started building my own melamine racks.
Mm-hmm.
And they look nice at first, and then
they always look nice at first.
That nice plastic coating on the outside doesn't do shit for holding moisture. So I very quickly figured out that that's just really not a good long-term solution.
Correct.
So my next thought was, okay, well, people make them out of PVC. PVC I know is completely water resistant, so that I won't have that problem at all. I started looking into PVC. A, it's super heavy. B, it's very expensive. And if you don't get it super thick and build it very narrow, you still end up with saggy shelves. You still end up with that bottom drawer that just doesn't work like the others do. No matter what you do. And I've seen people build them really narrow and they still get droopy. Like it's not the kind of thing I like. I can't stand to put energy into something, build it precisely, and then have it slowly just go to shit. It just drives me nuts. So then before I even fucked with PVC, I went straight to how do I build a modular system like the melamine shelving that I have in a metal frame? Like, how do I create a modular system with the metal? Because why is that not a thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I start kind of working through it. I used to be a draftsman for a ship company. I designed all kinds of 3D systems, 3D parts, and I have AutoCAD at home. So I started working through like, how can I physically make this work? Is it possible to interchange a lid, like have it all in one piece? And I went through at least 100 versions, slowly fine-tuning it over a year. And finally got to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, this will definitely work. I built out a small prototype out of some foam board and made up a little aluminum frame. It worked in the real world and is actually even more functional than I had expected. Once I actually had it in my hand and started messing with it, I was like, oh, there's so many other things I could do with this. So that's kind of where it all came from. I dug around before I really got super invested in it and tried to see who in the metal market had patents. ARS has some patents. I don't believe Freedom Breeder has anything patented. 95% of the frame, any given part of the frame, is not patentable because it's already publicly available through non-patent sources.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So the only thing in my entire system that is actually patentable is the hanger.
Right.
Damn.
But that having a I don't have it fully patented yet. It is patent pending. We're going through the process of getting it fully patented. I'm protected for up to a year as it stands. And the way I have it patented or patent pending, it encompasses basically any chunk of plastic that you could slide a drawer into or slide a tub or anything into that can hang from a frame. like basically anything. It's almost all
Damn.
inclusive. So any kind of frame, I can make this for round tube frames, wooden frames, wire frames, wire shelving, square tubing, doesn't matter. So there's as far as I can tell, there's no workaround where anybody else could potentially put out a similar product that would function the same.
Right. It's awesome.
Dude, let me tell you, I already want to meet you in person so fucking bad. Like, as soon as you said I worked on this project for a year before I was satisfied, I was like, this man is my kind of people. Now, I apologize for cutting you off.
No, not at all. But let's see, where to next? Having it in the real world has really spawned all kinds of new improvements. We figured out pretty quickly that it wouldn't be too difficult to make it to where you could actually put a padlock and secure it. So my original thought was, securing it so that you could mount it to the frame and have it locked to where you couldn't remove the tub. But in actually doing that, I figured out that it also locks the whole thing to the frame. It doesn't just lock the tub from being slid, so that you physically can't remove any part of it when you put a lock through it.
Right.
There's actually a picture of that on the website if you wanted to pull that back up. Where I actually rendered.
I did see that. Actually, it's a little thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the hanger's rendered clear so that you can see through it, and I have a little brass padlock showing where it would pass through both. But on top of being able to lock it to the frame, you could also lock it when you're like transporting it, or bring it to a show, or bring it to the vet, or whatever, or have it in quarantine, set aside. Not even with a frame. You could just have it sitting on a heat pad, potentially, with a thermostat in a room by itself, just the tub and the hanger.
So, okay. Oh, that was it. Hold on. We're gonna.
I know.
Right there. Yep. So if you have any way to make that bigger.
There's a way, Liz. You see. Hold on. If you can bring it right there.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, that's it.
Hold on. Let me see if this works.
So in that shot, the hanger is actually shown as clear, but it's not. Obviously, it's not clear in reality.
The computer's
you can just make out the
there
padlock,
we go.
Padlock through there.
Yeah, I see it. That's really neat.
So this is cool because in the Army, the weapons racks are just designed just like this, except they're like metal, like iron, cheap iron. But dude, that's exactly how they're designed to transport, because you can lock them like that with a military issued lock, putting them in a shipping container and ship them overseas with you. So I think that it's crazy that you came up with the same design as a company, if you will, looking at the military as a company that's almost 250 years old, and you did it in a year. That's so badass, man.
Yeah. Some other features we've added, or that we've realized, is that I showed it in one of the earlier videos. If you end up with gaps between tubs, that because they're not fixed to the frame solidly, that they're just resting on top of the frame, that you can actually slide them all to one side, so that if you end up with gaps, you can keep all of your animals to one end, just so you're not having like tubs scattered all over the place. Or you can, if you end up with a gap over here on the left and a gap over here on the right, you can shove everything over and make a too wide gap on one side to fit a larger tub in,
Yeah.
Very easily shuffle things around.
That is dope. So then, real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Can I call you Phil, or are we very Philip formal?
Philip is better.
Philip formal it is. All right, Philip. I want you to tell people what, at this exact moment right now, is the benefit from pre-ordering these racks from your website. The website is listed in the description below, as well as all of his social media. So what is the advantage of pre-ordering your racks now and sharing your website on social media?
Okay, so pre-ordering now is going to save you a little extra money, and not a little, 25%.
Yeah.
When we actually have frames and hangers ready to ship, we are going full retail, and other than a possible occasional slight discount for seasonal, sales or whatever, which we may not even do that, to be completely honest. Prices will never be as low as they are right now, for sure.
Yeah.
I am pricing it as low as I possibly can to break even on shipping the first several hundred frames.
Right.
So
that's so nuts. Just to get it out there.
Just to get it out there, and and that's an incentive for people willing to wait the longest, get the biggest savings. That savings is going to taper off between now and when we actually ship. And the big benefit to that for me is that I get cash in hand early to help with the startup cost, which is immense. It's not just six figures; it's multiple six figures to get this thing going. This is a very nice house in the suburbs to get this thing going. But I know long term that it'll definitely pay off. So it's
buy you several nice houses in different suburbs. Yes. So
exactly. Well, I'm not, honestly, I keep telling people I'm not in this for the money. I'm trying not to get too excited because there's a lot of money in this industry to be made. But I've told people straight up, like, when I start getting these things rolling, you got some sick animals and you want to trade, I'm again not in this for the money. This is something I'm passionate about, creating things, and I'm also passionate about ball pythons and reptiles in general. And this is just a beautiful marriage of all of the things I care about into one very cool thing that people are legitimately excited about, which is bizarre. I've been a creator my whole life. I've always had ideas and tried coming up with the next cool thing or whatever. And I've had a few good ideas that people were like, yeah, that probably would do really well if you could afford to make it. And it's but who's who are you gonna really get excited about, safety equipment and stuff like that, people that aren't really super interested in. And this is the first idea that I've had that is a good idea and has a community that is blown away by it, an entire community of people that 99% of the people I've talked to about this thing are like, holy shit, when can I have it?
I mean, it got you on the show.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm just saying,
it's overwhelming. I this weekend at Daytona, I talked to several hundred people, and almost every single one of them gave me their full attention for probably 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the person. And 99% of them were like, "This is amazing. I need this." And that is just, it was surreal. I had chills after some of those conversations, just at how well received the idea was, and the fact that okay, this is definitely going to be a thing. Strap in, let's fucking get to work, because this is happening.
Oh yeah, man.
It's bizarre, man.
I want your product. Yeah. I really do. I'm an experimental person. I'm the guy. I have a YouTube video that I made that I have 6 months ago. I still haven't put out, and it's on the comparison of the fucking Tractor Supply pellets for rat bedding, hemp for rat bedding, wood flakes for rat bedding, and I went through all these experiments and did all this shit. Right?
Yeah.
This awesome video.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about it.
Yeah. It's done. I just literally have to put it on YouTube. So I'm a guy I will try literally anything.
Yep.
I am excited to see your product
Yep.
in Arlington.
So you're going to get a really good view of it. So the working model that I brought down to Daytona, I was working with this new material. Literally, that's a like brand new material. They invented it a year ago, and it was promising, but it didn't prove to be as accurate a representation of what I'm trying to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And it confused a few people, or a good bit of the people. I had to explain very thoroughly that that was not exactly what they were buying, that it was a functioning display to show how it works, but it's not visually what you're getting. And I'd had pictures I would show them and send it to the website, whatever. But there's only so much you could do to really explain something visually without something as a visual representation. So what I've decided is between now and Arlington, I am going to hand build a scale replica of every single part that I plan to sell. It's a PVC foam board. It's a really good prototyping material, and it's relatively solid. It'll keep square. It's strong enough to just sit, but it's not like the hard PVC plastic that we're going to make it out of.
Mm-hmm.
That we're going to make the I said PVC, hard PC, polycarbonate plastic that we're going to make everything from. But visually, it is going to be identical to what you would ultimately be buying. So the show at Arlington, and hopefully I'll have a spot at Tinley. Both of those shows, I will have a real, accurate, real world working model that people can put their hands on, and very, very excited about that.
That's awesome. I can't
wait. Now I'm asking you this because I know your competitors do.
Yep.
Do you give a veteran discount or active duty military discount?
I will after this month. I don't know, what's a standard veterans discount? What would you say it is?
It's always 10%.
10%, yeah.
Okay, well then after September, I will offer a 10% discount for veterans. I physically can't do it now because because I am at break even numbers.
I got you.
Well, and I don't think any other. I was gonna say, in any other company too, if there's already a discount, you don't get the discount on top of it. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'd be fine. Honestly, I would be fine with giving. So, just to kind of, I haven't really announced this anywhere else, but the current plan is August is 25% off. September will be 20% off. October will be 15, and then 10, and then maybe 5, or we might just go straight. Depending on, we're going to keep tapering it off until we get to the point where product is physically shipping, and then at that point, we'll go to full retail aside from occasional sales. But once we get down to 15% off, I can afford to give a veteran 10% off in addition to that. Which would bring them right back to 25% off. So that is something that I'd be fine with. I fucking love veterans. I'd gladly give these racks away to anybody that's ever served.
Okay, so you know, it's funny you would bring that up. I just retired from the Army last month, so I don't want you to give me the racks, but you said you would trade for some cool snakes. So message me after this.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm down.
Fuck yeah. Yep. When in a few months, really message me after this and we'll work it out. But you don't have to hook me up with anything until months. And months.
I'm not going to make any deals like that until I have physical product in hand.
Of course.
But very early on, that will be a very, very real possibility for a lot of people.
And I'm definitely I'm moving to Tennessee in November, so there'll definitely be a juncture where I come down and film.
Yeah. Oh, dude, wait till so I close on my house next Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Nice. Congrats.
So I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's freaking gorgeous.
I did.
Man.
I saw you post it. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so listen, I designed it myself, right?
Nice.
Because I design everything myself.
That's
I
so
over-engineered
gangster.
the shit out of it because I over-engineer the shit out of everything. And I literally went out and staked out every part of the process. So, like, I bought a wooded lot. I cleared it out exactly the way I wanted. I placed the house exactly where I wanted. I designed the house exactly the way I wanted. And then even laid out this windy-ass driveway perfectly so like the driveway, if you could pull up my Instagram, I think I have the picture on there.
Yeah, I'm browsing through it right now. I saw the pictures of your kitchen, which looks amazing, by the way.
Well, that's not my kitchen. That's my wife's kitchen.
Oh,
Oh, I see how this works.
She's in love with that. She said she's going to sleep in there, and I'm going to sleep in the master. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
She loves the kitchen.
That's such a bad thing.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fucking awesome.
let me see.
That's seriously awesome. So yeah, we're gonna pull that photo up.
Anyways, I think there's a picture in there showing it, almost like a meme. Like the top part of the picture is
sometimes, and then
Yes.
dreams come true.
Yes.
Okay, I was about to ask if this was your actual house because it is absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, so the top picture is Oak Alley in Louisiana. It's a beautiful plantation, and the row of trees down each side of that driveway are all live oaks that are 100, probably 150 years old or more.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. And I designed a lot of my house around that building. So if you notice, there's 6 pillars or 6 columns on the front of the plantation. There's 6 columns on the front of my house. The plantation has dormers, which is the windows up in the roof.
Yep.
My house has dormers. My house is perfectly mirrored. So looking at it, the spacing between the windows and the corners of the roofs and all that is perfectly mirrored from left to right. And the big thing is that the driveway goes straight to the front steps, so that the driveway, the front steps, the front door, the back door, and the back steps are all perfectly in line all the way down.
Why are you a truck driver?
Because it pays a lot, man.
So you can afford to do all this shit. I got
I make a lot of money, man. I was telling Liz earlier that if you paid me this much to roll in pig shit, I would. I would do anything for this amount of money. Like I have a very
so you're not in it for the money.
I am humbled by the amount of money I can make driving this truck. It's freaking awesome.
That is.
I mean, I'm not a millionaire, but I make great money and I can afford to do whatever the hell I want, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That is fucking awesome. So
congratulations. I mean, I know you work long hours for that too.
So
I work 80 hours a week at least most weeks. But I'm home every night, given the kind of truck driving I do. I'm home every night, and I don't know. It's kind of a good mix of being away and being home and making really good money. That's all I could ask for.
Yep.
So so that is awesome.
Yep.
But what is the Alpha Series? Explain that to me.
So the Alpha Series is going to be any of our frames that are 26 inches front to back, which means that we could make an Alpha frame like an Alpha 8, right? Would be 8 tubs wide. Right now we have available the Alpha 6, which is 6 tubs wide. That frame is 26 inches deep, front to back, and then it's about 35 inches wide, which is just enough room to fit 6 number 1s across each shelf.
This is also interesting. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to ask.
So the number 1 in each series, so Alpha Series, Bravo Series, they'll all have a number 1 tub. and that will always be the unit of measure for that frame. So in the Alpha 6, the alpha is based off of the unit of the number 1 tub, and the Alpha 6 can hold 6 of those tubs on any given shelf. It's a little complicated. I think people will get it. I tried to make it as
I mean,
system.
look, man, I'm a high school dropout with a GED, and I got it by just reading your website.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. I tried to not overcomplicate it, and I tried to use, simple whole numbers, I guess, or whatever. Try not to overcomplicate it. Originally, it was going to be the number was going to be the number of tubs the whole frame could hold. So like the Alpha 610 would have been the Alpha 60.
I got you, yeah.
But then it could be 10 tubs wide and 6 shelves high, or 6 tubs wide and 10 shelves high.
Yeah, gotcha.
It got complicated, so I decided to just break it down. And then, so like any Alpha 6 frame will fit on top of another Alpha 6 frame.
Yes.
That 6 is going to be determined by the width. And then once we get into Bravo, the tubs will be about 6 inches longer than the Alpha, which is going to allow us to do like the 50 and 55 series, similar to ARS type tub sizes. We will probably produce a 70 series type tub. The problem with producing those size tubs, aside from just wanting to make a frame that matches the rest of my frames, right? So that any person could just have all my frames and have no one else's frames, right? Once a snake gets to a 70 series tub, it's not going anywhere else, unless it's a retic or a boa or something like that, right?
Yeah,
so
your small pythons need 70,
your ball python reaches a 70 series tub, it's never going to change out of that tub to anything else. So having that tub being on a hanger that makes it modular doesn't really make any sense. You understand?
Yes.
Because you could have a frame of 70 series tubs that never aren't interchangeable. The snakes that fill that rack out aren't ever going to need anything else anyways. Doesn't make a difference.
Correct.
So I'm not sure if building a 70 series size tub is really useful for my brand, if that makes sense. It would be good to just have it to sell to people, but I don't know if it really fits into the modularity type thing. But the 50 series, 55 series, and obviously a bunch of other mid-range tub sizes would do really well being modular with the constantly fluctuating, because your hatchling racks are going to have a lot of fluctuation throughout the year, and over a period of years, your mid-range tubs have a lot of fluctuation, where you have animals that are constantly growing, or animals that are being sold and then replaced with smaller animals or whatever. But once you get to that biggest tub sizes, I'm honestly not. I've had a ton of people say, "Oh, you're going to make the 70 series tub." I might. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so check this out. Humor me on this one. Remember how I told you this podcast will make you think?
Yep.
I know Liz wants to say something too, but I'll say mine because it's fast and it's quick and easy, right? So I told you I feed all ASFs. So I do have females that can definitely, they make 70 series tubs look like FB10s for real. Oh, and a lot of guys who breed short tail type pythons, so Sumatrans, Bloods, and things like that, also breed Angolans and balls and things like that. Right. So with your 70 series tub, look at what Freedom Breeder does with its 90 series tub. And that might actually give you the modularity idea you need.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, this idea is still, in reality, it's still in its infancy. So I'm kind of still trapped thinking small and thinking ball python community. and in reality, this applies to so many other things and has a practicality in all reptile breeding environments.
Yeah.
So there's definitely room for it to grow into other stuff.
Definitely, for sure. And I would even like to point out, I will sometimes rotate my girls between like the 55-40 or 10-40 equivalent, depending if you're going freedom breeder ARS, and the 70s, just because if I have a girl that goes off food and I need to move it back down, or vice versa, right?
Yep.
So having something that would be interchangeable instead of having to be like, oh shit, now I've got to figure out how to make a space for this girl to go back down, or however it would definitely be beneficial.
Cool. That's a great point.
I was actually really looking forward to that when I went on your website. I'm like, dude, I need to get these. And I was literally specifically looking for a 55-40 and 70 series tub switch out. I was like, oh, damn, they don't have them yet. Don't have those yet. But yeah, I think ball python people would take advantage of it. And I also think, like Brandon was saying, your Bloods, your Sumatrans, and even boa people for a while, like BI breeders.
Yeah, the Imperators.
Yeah, because they, a male, BI only gets 3 to 4 feet long. Yeah, they would live pretty comfortably in a 1070 to a 90 their whole life. Yeah. And they go through such a growth change. I mean, I've literally moved mine up from like your shoebox size hatchling tote to a V18 to a 28 quart equivalent to a 40 and then to a 70 for females before moving them up to like their 4x2x2 boa profile type enclosure. So I definitely think there's a lot of people outside the ball python community that would take advantage. The other people I'm thinking of is like beaded lizards and blue tongues.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I was going to tell you. Blue tongues.
Yeah, like a lot of people in the lizard, the terrestrial lizard communities use tub systems. So, but they want that floor space. So having a wide and long tub is beneficial to them, especially with the way your racks work. And this is just kind of spitballing here for lizard breeders, but if you could figure out how to do something where they had like almost an every other level thing, so that you could put like ceramic heat emitters and UVB bulbs and that kind of stuff in between.
Oh my god, that would be,
and literally you
talk about revolutionary. Fuck.
I can tell so you that there's a bunch of stuff that we're working on for rodent racks that is going to lend itself very well to having open top hangers, basically like a screen top hanger that you could potentially mount lighting to above.
Yes.
And then also I have a guy that I'm working with who's working out UVB, or he's working on UVB LED lights that he actually already has on the market. So that's actually, did y'all talk to him already?
Ryan McVeigh from VivTech.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
We literally just interviewed him last week, dude.
Yeah,
okay, he was on this show last week.
Me and him were side by side at Daytona.
I saw it. I was actually curious if you guys were like doing a thing together or not, because your logos
matched up
are the same color. Yeah, I was like.
That was just like perfect chance. Like we looked like we went there together. That's what
you did. Yeah, 100%. Looked like your two tables were met together.
So he's got some LED stuff he's working on that might pair very well, like UVB wise, to our setup. So there's a lot there to be done, and then obviously there's the hangers being modified to work for rodents opens the door for a lot of stuff with top heat, top lighting, all those sorts of setups, in addition to belly heat that we already have developed. So
right.
All right, so let's get a little bit more into the hangers, right? So I understand how they work, but let's get like a little more hardcore, like How much ventilation is in them? Is that customizable? What are they made out of?
It will be.
All right.
Yep.
What are they made out of? And like, as far as so, Liz and I are both full-time reptile breeders. Like, this is our job, right?
Nice.
So for us, time is money. So if I buy your product, I need to be able to clean it, maintain it, and do everything quick, expedient, and that's why Liz loves those pull-out toppers Freedom Breeder has, because you can just pull it out, wipe both sides, slide it in. So let's talk about your hangers in that aspect. How effective are they? And I know this is my question, and this is so fucked up because I have to get off of the show now, but I might be able to hop back on in like 20 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
But I will watch Philip. If I don't come back, I'll see you at Arlington, and you have my number. And don't forget those cool snakes, man. Hit me up, all right?
Hell yeah, you got it, brother.
I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
See you, Brandon.
Okay, so it's just you and me, Liz, right?
Yes, you and me. Yep.
All right. So the current plan is to have the hangers and the tubs all made in polycarbonate.
Perfect.
Our tubs will be thicker than anybody else's polycarbonate tubs that I know of. The majority of them are manufactured like 1/16 thick.
Wow.
Ours is going to be 1/10 of an inch thick, which that might, if you're not familiar with fractions, that might sound like it's less. It's actually more.
Yes.
So like 1/16, just to show you, it's like 0.0625.
Right.
1/10 would be 0.1. So I'm like a 50% thicker tub material than anyone else. And that's just to make sure that my tubs are very rigid and that they hold their shape. Because one thing that I don't like about a lot of slide, like drawer type tub setups, is that along the length of the sides, you end up with flimsy like sidewalls.
Yep.
And you could potentially have it where the lip of the tub is falling out of the channel it's supposed to be sliding in. So in order to avoid that, we did two things. One, we kept the tolerance very tight between the tub and the hanger, so that there is just enough room for it to slide down without rubbing up against the sides, but it's not so much that there's even a chance of it falling out of the channel. And then in addition to that, we got a much thicker tub. The hanger, we plan to have it in polycarbonate, and there's only one situation where we change that. I've heard and I've done some testing, and there's a chance that if the hanger and the tub are both made in polycarbonate, that those two similar materials will actually kind of bite into each other. The grains of the plastics can align to the point that it actually will feel like it's I don't know how to. Basically, it's just going to make it hard to slide the tub in and out.
It'll feel like it's sticking, right? Like there's friction.
It'll feel like it's sticking, even though they're both perfectly smooth plastics.
Right.
On a microscopic scale, if the fibers of these plastics line up too perfectly, they will not. They'll mesh together and actually bite in and create a lot of extra friction.
Interesting.
So if that happens, when we get our first actual finished product from the manufacturer, I'm going to have them ship me the hangers in a bunch of different materials. So they can use the same mold and produce it in polypropylene and ABS, and there's several other possible plastics we could use. ABS I want to avoid. I'm really trying to avoid polypropylene because it is a slightly cheaper, slightly less durable plastic.
Okay.
But if the parts bite into each other, we won't be able to avoid going with a different plastic. We'll have to use something else.
For sure.
Just because it needs to be a functional product at the end of the day. So if that's the case, what we'll do is we'll go with polypropylene for the hanger, and we will make it way thicker to compensate for any kind of lacking that polypropylene has, just being a slightly less durable material than the polycarbonate. but for sure, tubs will be polycarbonate just because it's the best thing you can make them out of.
Awesome.
High heat resistance, very durable, stain resistant. They don't like grab onto materials, so they wash very easily. All that stuff. Polycarbonate is definitely the way to go for the tubs. As far as functionality and being easy to clean, the fact that the tubs can go with the hangers and for like transport and being moved around or set aside while you're cleaning or rearranging things or whatever, obviously that's very, very functional. But on top of that, you could take that hanger and just put it in a sink and wash it, the whole thing, without having to fight it in or out, or
Yes.
yeah. I mean, because Freedom Breeder and ARS, they both have worked out some interchangeable lid systems, and
they're definitely not extremely efficient by any means. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're putting something on or off that's supposed to come on and off, and it feels like you might break it in the process, that's not ideal.
Yes. I know.
So go ahead.
I'm very excited. I definitely prefer the Freedom Breeder design over ARS, but I don't necessarily like either of them, right? So like the Freedom Breeder, I usually have to use like a pair of needle nose pliers to get it out, which isn't a huge deal, but it doesn't, as I've had this rack for several years now, the tops have started to sag.
Yep.
And so I have to usually like take a snake hook, right? And like run it down the middle and try to hold the back up while I'm pushing it in so that it actually will fit through the slot. And it's kind of become a pain in the ass. Like originally they were just in, out, real easy, not a big deal. But now that rack is 3 years old, they have all sagged in the middle, so I have to be able to hold it up and try to get it through this teeny slot in the back that you can't see, So I'm very, very interested in this design because it just seems like a real quick in-out process. And I was even more excited to see that you don't have to take like the tubs above it or below it in or out to get to get it in or out.
Yep, it can be accessed. Any tub can be added or removed without affecting any tubs around it.
Yes.
Aside from obviously whenever you're going up in tub size, you need to make room around it. But other than that, it's all very straightforward, very simple system. And at first it wasn't that perfect, and it took a lot of fine tuning, because the real problem or the real hurdle to get over was making it so that you could get it out.
Yes.
It has to fit around the tub above it. You could, you think, oh, well, you could just add more space between the shelf above so that you have room to get the hanger out. Well, the problem is there's a heat strip running across under there. So it doesn't matter how much space you add, you still need to have a heat strip running across the belly of the tub, and that heat strip needs to have bars on the ends that it can rest on.
Right.
Kind of to keep the system, or to keep the frame relatively simple.
Yep.
You're kind of forced to have it stacked one on top of the other. And obviously for space and efficiency, that's also the best case scenario. So making it fit was pretty tricky. But
oh yeah, I can only imagine. Another thing you don't want too is you don't want to have to make the footprint so large that people are losing space while they're trying to kind of gain space, right? So yeah, you could have put 4 or 5 inches between each tub, but then they would have half the amount.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey. Remember when Tiffany couldn't be on our show because she was moving to Florida? Well,
yes.
I have to go get a dog.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi. I was driving through. I'm like, hey, I'm in Oklahoma. What are you doing?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice to have you on. We're here with Philip from PAC RACKS talking about his new racking systems.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Your name is?
Tiffany.
Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm still at work.
So awesome. we've
be
covered
moving an hour.
efficiency and what you guys are planning on making the tubs and tub hangers out of. So next, let's talk about the actual framing of
Yep.
the rack, right? So what is your rack shell or skeleton? I know we're making it out of aluminum, but what is the strength on something like that? And what are we looking at as far as like weight, mobility, rust? Like,
Yep.
you know,
Okay, we'll start with rust.
all
The
right.
system will never, ever rust. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Aluminum does not rust. It can corrode if it's pressed up against dissimilar metals or put in like an extremely corrosive environment.
Okay.
But aluminum itself will never rust, which is one of the main reasons we went for it. And then on top of that, you also have the lighter weight and cheaper shipping. So those are all great benefits of it being aluminum.
Right.
They'll all be anodized aluminum, which is a nice, clean finish. It's not a perfect finish. It can still chip and stuff like that. But even if there's any wear to the anodized finish, the aluminum underneath will never, ever rust at all, which is so cool.
Awesome.
I have a lot of, around here, we don't really see much Freedom Breeder. I don't know anyone that has Freedom Breeder racks here. Everybody around on this, we're on the East Coast, so everyone here uses ARS.
Yep.
And they get passed around kind of secondhand. And I've not personally seen any secondhand racks that were not rusting out already. So
really,
yeah, being in a hot, humid environment, it's kind of what metal does. Even if you powder coat it or paint it, Freedom Breeder has stainless steel, which is a much more durable metal, but it still will get surface rust. Surface rust won't ever be a structural problem, but just aesthetically, it just kind of slowly looks like crap.
right.
Aluminum just doesn't do that. It's a non-ferrous metal, does not rust. As far as strength goes, we have picked a manufacturer that doesn't just make kind of straight square wall tubing. They have a very unique design. It's very accurately extruded so that the wall thicknesses are very precise. That helps with the strength. It's also a higher grade of aluminum, and it has a very strong connection to the plastic corner connectors, which is a very similar setup to like ARS hybrids, where you just basically hammer the frame together. Those connections are very stout. Hammer that thing together, and you cannot pull it apart. You'd have to basically hammer it back apart to get it away from itself. Frame's probably 10 times stronger than it needs to be.
Awesome.
As far as weight rating, I originally ran the load testing at over double what we expect the frames to ever hold. So these load tests were ran at like 1,200 pounds on a given frame, of like putting a 5 or 6 pound dumbbell in every single hatchling tub on a given frame, like 12 shelves high, or more than that, I think. So it was a way, way, way more than the frame will ever see, which is, something I'm proud of. We originally ran the load testing with it a lot wider, and to go even more overkill, we kept the frames narrow down to the 6 tubs wide, where you still retain some modularity, but aluminum in general, for every width that you if every time you cut the width in half, it double or quadruples the strength. So by going with a less wide tub or frame system, we gained a lot of strength back and made sure that we would have almost no sag in the system, even at an extreme load.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue with a lot of racks that you see is the sag
Yep.
that you end up getting over time.
That was the main reason I avoided the PVC shelving, and I skipped right over that just because almost every PVC shelf I see, you can, even from 10 feet away, I can tell like, oh yeah, that I can see that sagging terribly.
Yep.
I don't want any of that. I wanted it to be something that would last a long time.
For sure. And do you guys sell like any replacement parts or anything like that? Or will you be offering them?
I guess we'll sell the hangers and tubs loose.
Okay.
As far as the loose parts, probably, I don't know what the warranty we'll offer is. I'm sure I'll offer at least like a year warranty on these. I don't know if anybody else is offering warranties on theirs, but I'm confident to stand behind my product. And then as far as like frame connectors and stuff like that, if those break, if you need like a part or something like that broke, I'm sure I would probably just ship you a new one versus going through and itemizing or putting that into inventory as a SKU. It would just be easier to give out replacement parts if they broke or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
If we had a lot of issues with parts being broken or whatever, and I guess we would probably consider redesigning those parts or whatever. I like I said, I don't like under engineering things. So rather than dealing with replacing things, I would just rather have everything be way too strong. Right,
for sure. So we had some breeder concerns kind of come in, or mainly questions, right? On our poll that we did before the show. So we kind of addressed the first one, which was saggy tubs, and pretty much you said that the material that you're using and then the thickness of the material as well is what's going to keep it from sagging. So one person asked about tight rack corners. So I don't know, like you've seen in PVC racks. I haven't seen it in any of my stainless steel or metal racks, but where like the tubs end up getting stuck because of like the frame not being completely square, right?
Okay.
Have you guys seen any issues like that? Or are you doing anything to avoid those issues?
I guess what that system is assuming is that the channels that the tub is sliding into would be fixed permanently to the frame, so that if the frame was askew, those channels would be askew, and you would end up with a narrow passage or a narrow gap for that tub to fit into. So in my system, the hanger channels are completely independent of the frame, and there's just enough. It doesn't like, you don't have to shove it down in between the frame to make it fit. It rests with just a nice little tolerance, so that it's not like a super snug fit.
Awesome.
So if the frame is tweaked, it doesn't affect the channels at all. Channels are completely independent of the frame.
That's awesome. And whether
have any issues like that.
Yeah, and I think that's great too, because whether the frame came in tweaked or you were moving it or whatever and ended up tweaking a frame, right? You're not going to have to worry about having a rack that's completely rendered unusable for a minor tweak, right? Obviously, if you break something off or end up bending the crap out of it, you're not going to end up fitting tub.
But going back to the rust thing, I wanted to point out one thing. We did not, the only part of the system that is possible to rust are the casters, so the wheels.
Right.
And the reason is because we tried finding those in aluminum, and they were like $60 a piece.
Cool.
So I figured it'd be cheaper to just replace some casters every now and then.
Yep.
Versus charging you guys another $300 for casters.
I was gonna say I'm looking at your racks on here, and it's like the rack itself, right? Is so 612 right now with the discount, so 25% off is only $855. So yeah, you probably don't want to have to tack another $300 on top of that just for wheels.
Yeah, and then the good thing is, if you ever had to replace a wheel, the frame, the whole frame, like an entire frame, like 10 shelves high, weighs like 40 pounds. It might not even weigh that much. So if you strip down the plastic, the hangers and tubs off of a frame, it weighs for sure under 40 pounds.
Wow.
Which is wild. So
that's insane.
Take the snakes off, take the hangers with it, set them all aside. They even, you could stack them up and put them off the side. Take that frame, and one person, a little old lady, could lay this thing over, change a caster, and stand it back up without any problems.
Wow, that is really crazy.
Yeah. So when I say my frame weighs half as much as the other people, right? So your average full-size frame probably weighs 600 pounds from either of the other guys. And
yeah, I was gonna say your whole frame weighs as much as like one shelf.
Yeah, my whole frame, with the hangers and everything installed, right, weighs about half as much as anybody else's.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
And all of that weight saving is the aluminum.
Yes.
So my plastic parts probably weigh about the same, if not more, than their plastic parts, because I'm going with thicker plastics, higher grade material. But when you strip the plastic away and you just look at frame versus frame, my frame weighs 50 pounds. Their frames weigh 400 pounds.
Wow.
It's a massive difference.
That's huge. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and that'll definitely make it easier for like people like me, and I'm sure there's other people that have their snakes either upstairs or downstairs.
Yeah.
Instead of having to carry a few hundred pounds downstairs.
Yeah.
Definitely make it a lot easier.
Definitely.
So what are we looking at as like cost effectiveness versus PVC hatchling racks? Have you done any like cost analysis to see?
Well, I haven't compared myself directly to them. Not recently. I did early on. I'm pretty sure if you look at my hatchling racks right now with the 25% off, I actually think I might be cheaper than like a Vision rack, just for like a comparable comparison. As far as PVC goes, I have no clue what that's even selling for right now, because PVC costs have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So I'm probably beating them too right now, to be completely honest. Comparing myself to ARS, I am cheaper at full retail per tub for a hatchling rack than they are. And I'm obviously way cheaper than breeder.
Yeah.
I think it's like 14% cheaper or something like that per tub. If you take, you build any system with my rack, divide the cost by the number of tubs, and compare that to any of their racks divided by the number of tubs. And apples to apples, we are just a hair cheaper than ARS. I kind of wanted to be right there with them, and basically just have a better product for the same price. It's kind of what my original goal was, to be cheaper, but the way the world is right now, there were a lot of costs that went up significantly from when I started this process to now, and those things are having a big effect on the, what I can sell them for.
Definitely. Yeah, especially the price of plastic.
Well, the price of plastic is going up. Price of aluminum has gone up, and the cost to ship a container from China to the U.S. has gone up a lot. So a container used to cost like $4,000 to ship from China to the U.S., and now it's right at $20,000 per container just in shipping.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not including the tariffs. That's not including the tariffs that the U.S. charges to import goods. That's not including getting it from the port to my facility. That doesn't include processing the goods. It doesn't include preparing orders. It doesn't include anything else. It's just from China landing in the U.S. 20 grand.
Wow.
And
That's
a
insane.
lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it used to be 4, it's gone up 5 times, and that's just been in the past year and a half that it's going up like that.
And that's just to get the supplies here. Like that's not even the cost of what's in the actual container,
Exactly. Yeah, that's not even close to the cost of the container. It's very, very, very expensive. But
yes.
The reason why, even with all of that, the reason why I can still match or beat other people's pricing is because my system is so simple. I've eliminated so many parts and so many SKUs and so many different molds I would have to make this system work, just by having a very simple, efficient system. There's literally, I could sell you a frame made of just 2 parts. The frame is handled by the manufacturer. I have a manufacturer that makes the frames for me. But as far as my contribution and the hanger and the tubs, those unique parts, the cost there is as minimal as possible because it's just 2 pieces of plastic.
Right.
Made over and over and over again.
So altogether, not including casters, I guess, your rack is probably mainly made up of 8 different pieces.
Let's see. You got casters. There's 2 different kinds of casters, right? So that's 2 parts.
Yep.
There's 2 different types of corner connectors.
Okay.
There's aluminum tubing. That's 1 part, and then 1 hanger, 1 tub, and then heat panels.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think of the heat panels. Right.
And obviously the heat panels have some components, but
but you could roughly say you've got less than 20 parts to complete.
Oh yeah, for sure. Versus shipping you something that has 5,000 screws and 10 different pieces of plastic that all match together in different ways,
and horrible pictured instructions that don't actually tell you how to put it together. No. But that's awesome. Very cool. So did you guys have to do any like troubleshooting issues? Like examples, heat fluctuation on different levels. Do you guys have a probe or a stat mount or anything like that? How are you guys regulating heating or suggesting that people do that?
The website mentions, I think, somewhere that you just plug it into your favorite thermostat. Obviously,
awesome.
It needs to be hooked up to a thermostat. As far as the thermostat mount or anything like that, I haven't really gotten far enough to consider that. Obviously, that's something we could add pretty easily. And then as far as temperature fluctuations on different shelves, I feel like aside from having individual thermostats per shelf or something like that, I don't know that there is a real good way to eliminate that problem. The one good thing is that we plan to use a heat tape that is very well established in the market. It's very efficient, and being that our heat panels are made of aluminum versus steel, aluminum will carry and pass off heat very, very efficiently.
This is only 1/3.
You should have a system where getting the heat into the tubs is more efficient. I'm not sure how much more efficient it'll be. If it'll be so much that you save on your electric bill or anything like that.
Right.
It should be less taxing on your thermostat. If in theory.
Right.
As far as real world use, I haven't put any animals in this hangar just yet. I don't have my tubs to really test against the heat panels to see about like heat transfer and stuff like that. But I don't foresee any problems. We're using effectively what's already the standard, the market standard for heat panels, heat panel insulation, grounding the heat panels with a grounded cord, and the belly heat setup with a heat panel bridged across the frame. So used designed aspects that aren't unique.
Hey, Phil, give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry. We're out for real this time.
Okay, thanks, Tim, for joining us and listening in.
Bye.
Hey, Phil, you're awesome, bro.
I hope I didn't bore you to death.
No, not at all.
Okay, good. All this like fancy engineering jargon put people to sleep.
No, you're good. I enjoy it, so I'm glad. It's always nice when someone actually knows the, I don't know, fundamentals, I guess, behind their project or product, you know?
Yep. Well, I mean, here's the thing. To be frank, 90%, like I said earlier, 95% of my frame is not unique. It's
Right.
It's not like I went and reinvented the whole wheel.
Yep.
I just came up with a better tread design that works more efficiently. So I took material thicknesses and the way the frames are arranged and how, even like the corner connectors and all that stuff, I'm using things that are openly available on the market that are already proven to be reliable in other systems, so that I don't have to do all kinds of years of research or years of studies to make sure that it works. It's
Right.
already been done for me. If that system didn't work, there wouldn't be thousands and thousands of people out there with these racks in their homes that they've spent their hard-earned money on, because
Definitely.
and I've said it several other places. I'm not here to tear down those other brands and say that those are garbage. Don't buy ARS. Don't buy Freedom Breeder. You should buy PAC racks. I'm not here to necessarily replace what they've done.
Right. Your product is completely separate, in my opinion. I mean, it's different,
I definitely think I'm unique, and I'm not. And I actually went and actually spoke to the owner of ARS, and basically told him the same thing. Like, I'm not here to replace you. I think I bring a whole new spin on this thing, and
Yep.
But what I was getting at is to say that I'm just piggybacking off of what they've already established, right? And
Right.
that's no different than what anyone would do innovating in any other industry, is utilizing what's already been established and what people are already familiar with, and then building on top of that and making something that's unique enough to patent and unique enough to sell as its own thing.
Well,
and that's
exactly. And I mean, it's no different than like when they first made an engine. The next person to make an engine didn't completely scrap the original one, right?
Yep.
And they just made it more efficient, made it more powerful, whatever the case may be. So you improve on what already is known to work and exist. And I've actually had I've known people in the industry who have been asking for years for a metal rack with exchangeable tubs, and I've never seen anyone even try to do it. So it's definitely a new idea and a new product, but it's something that has been requested or asked for several years. So it's not like if there was someone else out there who was going to do it, that already had their own metal rack system. They've had time, the idea's been passed around long enough for finally someone to step up and be like, this is what people are asking for. Let's give them that. Creative Genetics actually had a question for us. She asked if you were going to have a pull-out table like Freedom Breeder does on your racks.
I don't have one currently, and I'm not entirely sure if that's already patented by ARS. I would have to do some research on that and see if that's part of their patent. They have a patent that includes a large part of the way their system functions, and that could be part of that. I'm not entirely sure. I would, if it is patented, I would need to come up with a design that is unique enough to not interfere with what he's doing, if that makes sense.
Right. If I remember correctly, I believe Freedom Breeder used to have a patent on the pull-out table, because patents have a time frame on them, correct?
Yep.
You have to renew them. Yes.
Yep, they're good for 14 years, and I don't know that they, after 14 years, I don't know that you can actually renew them. You have to pay when you start a patent, you have to pay maintenance fees to maintain it over those 14 years.
Right.
But I believe in most cases, and this might have changed, but I believe after 14 years, you lose the ability to claim patent status.
Very interesting. I did not know that.
I know after some point it does force it into the market, like to where you can't just like hold a monopoly forever.
Right. So the idea is in 14 years you should be able to perfect and build a big enough brand or company, right?
Yeah. By the time the 14 years are up,
yep,
I will have theoretically established myself as the brand. And if people come out with knockoffs, then so be it. I'll still be the go-to for this this model or this type of product
or whatever it is that they're looking at. Yeah, awesome, very cool. All right, let's see. And I think we already touched on this, and I know you said that there wasn't anything in the works as of right now, but you guys don't have any plans to come out for RACKS for other snakes, like a boral or anything like that as of right now?
So I do have plans to make different height tubs for the same hangers.
Awesome.
So you would have like an Alpha 3 currently is 5.5 inches tall, and we could potentially come up with an Alpha 3 short, which would be for rodents. So you'd have like an Alpha 3 short that's only 4 inches tall, and then you'd have like an Alpha 3 deep, which would be more like 8 inches tall or so.
Right.
And they would all effectively fit into the same hanger for whatever purposes you needed. And then the only thing that would need to change is you would have to be keeping all the same height tubs on a given shelf so that they all match up to the belly heat. Unless you're talking about rodents, because obviously rodents, you don't need belly heat. So there's that is an option that eliminates some extra parts, so where you're using the same hanger basically for different size tubs. Not that you would necessarily have them interchangeable, but that's just less SKUs I have to have to put out different product lines. So I would offer you a short shelf versus offering somebody else a tall shelf or a deeper tub shelf.
Right. I think that's beneficial too for another market to think about is like a reptile hobbyist instead of a breeder, right? So someone that maybe keeps 5 or 6 different species of animal, but doesn't necessarily keep more than 1 or 2 of each species, by having a height difference and or a tub size difference that's interchangeable, where they could literally switch it out as the animal grows, and allow them to keep multiple species in the same area, I think is also a concept to think about, other than thinking like, okay, I'm a ball python breeder, so I'm going to have all yearling ball pythons in this rack, or that I can move up and down, thinking, well, maybe I have 2 corn snakes and a ball python and and a blood python. It could go on and on. So that is another reason I think the interchangeable tub sizes make a lot of sense and make such a big difference, because someone could literally buy one rack to keep all their different species.
Yep. So another thing that you might need to pull up on the website is if you look at one of the renderings of the tubs. So if you go to like any one of the tub listings and pull up the second image, should be a little bit of a closer shot.
Yep, I can zoom in too, depending on
Okay, so if you look at the edge of the tubs, if you notice, the handle is the full width of the tub.
Right.
It's effectively like a rectangular handle
Uh-huh.
versus having like a small notch that sticks out.
Yep.
So the benefit to that is you can actually take a small strip of like Velcro.
Okay.
And using the hook side, I really, you can almost use either side, but basically you could put a small strip of Velcro across the entire width of that handle, because it's all flat all the way across the width.
Right.
And what that'll do is that'll eat up the 1/8 inch gap that you have across that top of that tub when it's closed.
Okay.
And it'll still allow airflow through. So like rather than putting weather stripping and blocking that as a air passage, you use like a Velcro, which is like an open material, breathable material, but still will block some of that gap. And you could use these tubs for even like small hognose and like hatchling colubrids without worrying about them being able to squeeze out of that little gap. That's the only part. The very front edge of the tub is the only part where there's any issue of small animals potentially being able to squeeze out.
Yes. Yeah. Which is huge, right? Because, you know, I have gaps in my racks, and not only that, some of the ventilation holes that they drill are so big, you know.
Yep. All of my holes are 5/32.
Nice.
Which is, what does that work out to be? Just a hair over an 1/8 inch.
Okay.
Very small.
Right.
It's the same size as the ARS holes are typically.
Yep.
And very tight. No issues of anything getting out. I mean, I don't know of any reptile small enough to really fit through something that small.
I don't either, not off the top of my head. Yep. So definitely.
The only issue would be the gap across that front lip with animals potentially squeezing their way out, and the fact that the handle bridges all the way across. You got a nice flat surface where you can mount something to.
Easily fixable.
Yep.
Right.
So if you kept venomous, same thing. If you kept small colubrids or small any small species that is prone to escape.
Yeah. Definitely awesome. So this is a B2 question if I ever heard one. Why should people buy your product over the competitions?
Okay. Well, I did my damnedest to take the best of everything and put it all into one package. I tried to be cheaper. I tried to be more durable, and I think we've really nailed it. And I would never tell anyone that that ARS or Freedom Breeder are garbage, that they shouldn't buy them. But I definitely think that I would hope people would consider adding mine to their collection. And I really feel like, specifically, on top of being the best parts of everything, that modularity is huge for people with limited space, or even if you don't have limited space, if you just need to optimize the space that you do have. It's a fantastic system, because most people, large or small, have space in their system or in their collection that is either waiting to be filled, or there's nothing to go there. So like you have a hatching rack where it's empty half the year, and the other half the year it's not big enough.
Yep.
And
100%.
this system and a few of these in your collection, a few of these racks in your collection can completely eliminate that problem and give you the flexibility to keep animals. So like if, let's say you had one of these racks as your dedicated hatching rack,
Mm-hmm.
it would be full part of the year, and as you sell animals and animals grow, you're, rather than those larger animals flooding over into your main collection and you having to find animals to get rid of to accommodate these growing animals that may not stay in your collection long term.
Yep.
They might just be waiting to sell. You have the flexibility to contain that annual influx in one system rather than constantly muddying up what you're doing in your main collection. And then when we expand into other tub sizes and everything else, then you'll just gain that much more flexibility in the mid-range of your collection. Optimizing space, and then on top of that, as far as just space efficiency, if you compare our hatchling rack to ARS's 10 series frames,
Right.
I can fit 25% more animals in a given foot of wall space than they can.
That's crazy.
So where they could fit 2 of their frames, I can fit 3 of mine.
That's awesome.
Where they can fit, what was the, I'm trying to remember what the exact number is. It was 84. Yeah, so where they can fit 200 of their hatchling tubs, the 10 series hatchling tubs,
Yep.
and in the exact same amount of space, I can fit 252 of my hatchling tubs.
Wow.
Because of the footprint.
That's crazy.
Because of the footprint that or the profile of the tub that I chose. My tubs are a little longer, but I can fit more in a given wall space than they can, and for effectively the same or slightly less money.
Right. I think that's huge too. You know, I think this is a product that people probably would have paid a little more just for the convenience, you know, of having something.
I could have easily marked this up and sold it for more.
Right.
I wanted to be the best of everything, so being cheapest was also
yes.
part of that.
and I think long term, right, it's going to be more beneficial too, because as you get more options and things like that and sizes,
yeah,
you know,
no, it's just going to become more and more flexible of a system.
Right. You know, I was going to say, if we talk about, you know, the 1070 and 10 or 5540 series equivalent, right? If we end up making one where they're interchangeable, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who think, okay, yeah, but my 70 rack is filled all year long, right? Or my 40 series rack, or my
kind of like what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. They're filled at the same space all day, all year long. So why do I need to be able to switch stuff out? But if you're price equivalent to the other competitors and your rack is already lighter, I think the ability
never going to rust.
Never going to rust. Exactly. I think the ability to travel with the animals in their original tub is a huge thing, especially for adults. We actually just had Shane from Small Town Exotics on, and he was saying how most of his females are going this year, even though he moved, you know, from California to Tennessee. And he said that the way that he transported them was he put them in a box with their bedding from their tub in a bag, and then he set them on their bedding. And when he got to where he was to his new home, he put the bedding back into the tub and the females back in there. So everything, and he didn't clean anything, whatever. Everything smelled exactly like it did when they left California, right?
Yeah.
And so I think being able to travel, again, especially with adults, by just taking them off the rack, putting a padlock on the tub and taking them wherever you need to go, and then putting them back in the rack is huge.
Yep.
for females not reabsorbing, for females not slugging out, for males not going off food, or females, just them having the comfort of home, pretty much, right?
No matter where they go.
Exactly. I think that is a really beneficial.
And then we're starting to develop the rodent system, and in the process kind of stumbled on a whole new, I guess, function of the hanger.
Yeah.
So in the snake system, we have the tub where it's just long enough that if you tried to lift the hanger with a tub in it, like you put the, I'm trying to think of how to explain this where you can visualize it. If you put the hanger on the frame and then slide the tub into it, if you would try to grab the tub or grab the hanger and try to lift it off the frame, the tub will catch on the frame.
I think you have a video on the website about that, don't you? Where it shows you
doesn't really show the tub.
Okay.
I showed how it was interchangeable. I didn't really show how the tub catches, right?
Okay.
So basically the hanger interlocks with the frame, the tub interlocks with the hanger, and the hanger and tub together lock themselves to the frame. But with the rodent system, I'm trying to develop it so that the tub doesn't interlock with the frame. It just interlocks with the hanger.
Okay.
So that without having to remove the tub and then the hanger, you could potentially just lift the two together off of the frame all in one.
That would be amazing for rodents.
So for transporting or rearranging or moving, females up to the next level, if you're, depending on your breeding process, how you shift things around throughout the breeding process, you could very easily move tubs without ever having to even open the enclosure. It basically would just set down into the frame. And again, it's still in its infancy. We still have some details to sort out, but that is where we're heading. And if it works, it's going to be huge for rodent breeders. Yeah,
we I don't know if you know, we have our own rodent facility as well. We have a few thousand Norway rats. We also do ASFs and a little bit with the mice. But that would definitely be an amazing feature to have for several components of the way that we breed.
So with the tubs, with the rodent tubs and the rodent hangers, I should say, there's not really a whole lot of function for modularity with the rats.
Right.
Because you're not really switching tub sizes for rats.
Right.
At least most people aren't. Some people go from like if you look at ARS's site, they have different sizes for like different phases of raising rats, or like grow out tubs or whatever.
Yep.
But once the system's pretty much set up,
exactly.
There's not really a whole lot of benefit to switching.
No, I was just about to say that, because we breed that way. We do, females to male, like a harem, and then we pull the females when they're pregnant, put them in a maternity tub. They have their babies. We wait till the babies are pups, move them together. So we move our rats several times through the process, right? Yep. But like you said, once those animals are in that tub size, they're there. There'd be no benefit, in my opinion, to being able to switch out a tub size in the same location.
Exactly. So instead of that, you instead of using that hanger for modularity, you use it as basically just a portable, a lid that stays with the tub no matter where it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
And very easily can remove that without ever having to, because I imagine if you have to transport animals, which you may not if you're just breeding for yourself.
No, we do. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like my buddy's a breeder, and if he's going to bring rats somewhere, he pulls the tub out. He's got to find a screen lid to put on top of it, and then drive them around in that, and then whatever. But this would just be, he'd just basically pop the whole thing out, and roll with it.
That would be, that would be very convenient and certainly time efficient and beneficial, because the fewer number of times you have to handle the same rodent to complete any single task, right? The more efficient and the better it is for sure.
Yep.
Well, we've had you on here for almost 2 hours now. So I know it's been an hour and 45 minutes. So we greatly appreciate your time. I have a few what we call revolution round, which is just a real quick off the top of your head answers to these questions.
Okay.
And then after that, you will be free to finish your trip. So the first one we have, and usually this is a Brandon question, but he always asks, what's your one max rep in bench press?
Oh, God. I couldn't tell you. I have a gym in my house. I got injured earlier this year, and I really haven't touched it since. I'm
sorry to hear that.
That's all right.
What was it?
Around my, I honestly don't remember. It might be my body weight. Let's just say that. So
all right.
It might be 200 pounds I could bench press one time.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you say this? It's talking about the ball python morph. Is it caramel albino or caramel?
Oh, man. That's funny because, oh, God.
You don't think about it. It's on. How do you say it?
I would say caramel, but that's not how I say caramel. But everybody calls it caramel, so I don't know. That's weird. That's a weird question.
So Brandon says caramel, and I say caramel.
Yeah, everybody calls it caramel, so I would call it caramel albino. But when I'm talking about caramel, I say caramel. So
I don't know then. I don't know. Who do you guys think? Drop in the comment. Who won that one? We've been keeping a tally on how many caramels and caramels we've had, but I don't know. I don't know who gets that one, guys. Is it me or Brandon? All right, and then your shit tickets. So your toilet paper, over or under?
Oh, over for sure.
100%.
Savages.
Brandon would agree with you. I would say that I am a mother, and if it even gets on the toilet paper roll, I'm pretty satisfied. So
nice. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a Pac-Man arcade?
I don't. My buddy does. I got a friend down the road that we play every time I go by his house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and in my new building, we'll have one.
So okay. That's awesome. You got like a Pac-Man themed.
I'm gonna have for my YouTube room. It's gonna have like an arcade thing.
I love it. I love it. That is awesome. All right. Pac-Man tattoo.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I kind of want to get. There's a guy called Flip Shades, and he does patch tattoos that look like embroidered patches. They look fucking awesome. I want to get my logo as a patch.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that concept a lot.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, make your best Pac-Man noise.
Waka waka. I don't know.
I love it. So where did the name Pac, obviously Pac-Man, but why?
It's my initials.
Oh.
Philip Allen Collom. That's me, baby.
There we go.
You know what's crazy? My dad used to love playing Pac-Man in the arcades when he was a kid, and he did not name me Pac on purpose.
That's hilarious.
He did not.
That's kind of awesome, though.
After he had already done it. Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
It's like a cool little fact. Very cool. All right, would you call your wife Mrs. Pac-Man?
I do, often.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Last question, Philip. How are you revolutionary?
It's in my blood. I can't help it. That's all I got.
I love you, dude. This is awesome. Everyone's always like, oh, I don't know. How can I how can I answer it? Or I don't really think I am. Phil's just like, because I am, all right? It's me. It's a part of me. It is what it is.
Yep. Get used to it. I'll be changing shit for a long time.
Good. We want to see more of what you have to bring to the table. You definitely, I mean, the idea itself, right, is completely revolutionary. I think what you said, just how much you break things down and 100 different concepts over the year that it took to make this, and just deciding that, the engineering side of you, really, that we're going to figure this out. We're going to make it the best that it can be. I mean, your house alone, which is beautiful, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. Can't wait. 1 week
I
away.
bet. When do you guys move in?
Next Tuesday.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. How far do you guys have? Is it like a far move or?
Yeah, it's 40 minutes. 40 minutes where we're at now.
So decent trek.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, but and I love it's in the middle of nowhere. We're going from being in the city of like hustle and bustle of Savannah to living somewhere where the closest red light is 8 miles away.
That's
and
awesome.
It's the
You'll love
only
it.
red light in town.
Yep, you'll love it. You'll love it though. You'll love it.
I can't freaking wait.
It's so peaceful. We moved into town, but we're still in our first house. We bought our first house, and I've never lived in town, and I hate it. I've hated every minute of it the 6 years that we've been here, and I definitely can't wait to not be able to see my neighbors.
Yeah, right now since we've moved to Georgia, we've been in rentals. When we were in Louisiana, we owned some land or owned a house, and we've been renting here and going from apartment to apartment and crappy rent house to crappy rent house. Like, man, it's not, we're not living in a crappy place, but it's just
right. But it's not your
Yeah.
place either, right? I mean, in the sense of you can do whatever you want with it, whether it be good or bad.
Yep. And then where I'm going, like I've made the driveway big enough that I can like drive my truck home. So
right.
I don't have to leave as early in the morning. I can just go out the front and hop in my truck when I'm ready or whatever.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a huge lifestyle change for me, and I really can't wait.
That's so exciting. Well, congratulations.
Yep. Thanks again.
Seriously. Creative Genetics asks one last question before you go. What's next after the RACKS? Do you guys have any plans? I mean, we didn't even get to touch on your animal side of things.
Yeah. So when we get into the house next week, we're going to start planning the building. We're going to have at least 2,400 square foot building behind the house.
Wow.
And that's going to be for breeding rodents. That's going to be for my ball python collection. That's going to start the PAC shipping and receiving facility. Okay. And as soon as that's established, we're going to be starting to purchase and build a larger facility nearby. Okay. On some commercial property.
Awesome.
But the one thing that I'm really excited about, aside from what we already have going on, is I'm going to build like a private serpentarium in that building.
Beautiful.
So I want to stick to the PAC Pythons brand, and I want to collect 1.1 or 1.2 of as many python species as I can accumulate.
Wow.
And get them in their like most natural wild type, no genes, no mutations, none of that crap.
Yep.
And then and just have a really clean, almost conservationist style collection.
That's so awesome. Brandon and I both have that plan or dream or whatever you would like, goal, I guess, in mind. The exact same way. We want everything to be as natural as possible. I'm not necessarily looking into working with a whole lot more snake species. There's definitely a few that I want to get into, but I'm very big into like the monitor lizards and even some delians and things like that. And so, but I love seeing that there's so many more people in the industry moving towards that idea. When I first started this and I 10, 15 years ago, for people that I talked to, there end goal, right, was to have like the biggest facility stuffed full of racks with as many ball pythons as they could fit, right? You know, or whatever species really that they were working with, right? Like you see monitors that are kept in, and not that there's anything truly wrong with that, right? The monitors are living just fine, but whether it be in like shower cubicles or, you know, with a basking spot in a pond, you know, and that's all the bare minimum, and they want to fit as many as one species in the smallest amount of space that they can. I love that people are moving towards I want to give my animal as much space as it wants, you know, and doing naturalistic enclosures and actually learning about the species. You know, there is so much that we don't know about these animals in the wild simply because we don't replicate their natural behaviors.
Yep. I don't know if you know who Steve Tillis is.
I've heard the name.
He's a wizard. Guy's a genius. I actually finally got to meet him this weekend, and I'll be down at his place this in September. Very soon. I'll be doing a tour of several facilities, talking about my racks with a bunch of people down there.
That's awesome.
Steve is, I love the guy. He's awesome, but he has a ton of different python species, and one of the big things I plan on going down there to see is how he keeps some of them, and hopefully he gets to produce some of those more unique species, and I can add them to my collection and kind of mirror some of the stuff he's already doing.
Yeah.
I plan on building out like basically just one solid room, and I'm going to frame everything in 2x4s or possibly aluminum, just because I'm kind of already in the aluminum industry, and it would be very easy to do that. But basically just going to frame out an entire room in some sort of a tubular structure, and then line all of the insides of the voids with PVC,
right?
So that I can have like a nice watertight, sealed sanitary environment, and then get someone to make like custom faces for the enclosures with doors and all that. So I'm basically going to have an entire room full of a bunch of different sized enclosures, where they just take up the entire wall, all 3 walls all the way around.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Set them up as natural as possible, and probably not bio. You know, like a what's the term I'm thinking of?
Bioactive.
Bioactive. There you go.
You should consider it.
Yeah.
You should.
We'll see. We'll see. That there's obviously some benefits. I kind of want to. I picture my setup being like skirting the middle of that, like looking like a bioactive setup, but being something that's very easily sanitized and kept very clean, to avoid the possibility of parasites and that kind of thing.
Right.
So there's obviously some drawbacks to having a fully natural environment. I feel like I'm going to probably land somewhere in the middle where it looks and gives the animal the environment of a natural environment, just with being very sanitary.
Makes sense.
But anyways, that's the goal. That's the dream. And hopefully that starts coming together here in the next year or so.
Awesome.
And
well, we'll be
documenting on YouTube, and
definitely we'll be rooting and cheering for you, and hopefully you'll get a lot of those racks sold so that you can build this Serpentarium of yours.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Philip. I hope you're not too far from home, or at least not too tired.
About 10 minutes out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good timing, then. Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, and we'll definitely be checking back in as the progression of, PAC RACKS continues, and of course your ball python collection as well. And then, any new products you have coming out. We'd love to have you back on once, maybe when you get your rodent line on board or whatever's next that
absolutely
weighs its head. So awesome. Well, thank you very, very much. And we will be talking soon, and we will see you in Arlington.
All right. See you in Arlington.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sorry I'm not in my usual snake room. We've got some changes, stuff getting moved around and stuff in there, so it's a big old mess. But we appreciate everyone stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.